concern for that is just he's playing versus Mars and Arena. It cuts down his trees and it's a counter in that regard, but it doesn't seem like they're going to be too concerned about it.
With the draft finalized, I'll pick whichever team and tell me the weaknesses and the strengths of that draft.
Well, we still didn't talk about the last two picks, so I'm trying to think about them in like larger context. But this Ember pick is quite good, right? Because what did they lack versus this IO? The backline jump. And they are going to have that in Shaker and Morphling later on in the game, but they do need that hero who can go in first. And because of having this Ember, it actually enables Ancient Apparition, because Ancient Apparition is a hero that likes to shoot his ults out whenever he has them. So in order for that to happen, they can't just sit back and wait for a Shaker blink timing, right? So Ember really makes up for Shaker's weaknesses in that sense. Oh, and it is a position 4 Monkey King, actually.
Closing thoughts?
4 Monkey and a 5 Mars.
Closing thoughts of what you love about OG, please.
I love OG's pace here. They can play super fast. Crosswix Invoker, Ursa Wisp. There's so much tempo. Tusk. Secret's lineup needs a little bit more time to build up, so I think OG are going to play super hyper-aggressive in this game, play very explosive Dota. If Secret can weather the storm and get later, I think their strategy is most likely going to win this game. Okay. So a very clear contrast between the two styles here with aggression versus more tempered gameplay.
And you asked about weaknesses in particular. I would just say that OG does have to play very well around these first couple of Aegises.
So you heard my panelist conclusions, but there's one man that I can't have on panel because it's just a bit too valuable. His name is BSJ, and he'll be giving you the last word for today.
Thank you, Avo. As Cinderin highlighted, we're going to have two very different paces coming out from these two teams, but I want to highlight the same position on both sides, the 4 position. We got YapzOr's Monkey King, and we got Soxa's Tusk. Both these two heroes are instrumental to the success of these teams. YapzOr is going to provide that information from the vision on the trees, as well as a setup stun for the AA combo, and eventually for the Earthshaker morph, buying time for them to get to their items, while on the other side, the Tusk, they lack a little bit of damage in the early game. The Ursa is going to rely on getting that defusal probably by the 12 to 13 minute mark, where they're going to look to go for the Roche. But before that, all the early moves fall down to Soxa. He's going to be responsible for setting the tempo, as his tag team is pretty much the sole source of damage in the early game for OG. So I'm going to be following all the action myself with these two 4-position players, and who better for you guys to follow the action with than the two casters that have been casting these guys throughout the entire DPC and now the upper bracket of the International. I give you Odie Pixel and Fog.
Thank you very much, Brian. Yes, looking forward to this one massively. Secret versus OG up here in the upper bracket. Fog, we've had the draft in front of us.
Yep.
What are you excited to see? I'm already seeing so much that I'm sure the fans of both teams at home are going to be very excited for this match.
Lots of combo plays, lots of speed, especially from the side of OG, as panel has been saying, and like Brian did tick it off. Very kind of different styles that we'll be going for. Obviously, OG is going to be looking to set pace with this Ursa, with this Invoker moving around the map, but it's different. It's this fun that we're starting to get to see from them so much. It's the IO3.
Yes, so. and it's I mean, we saw sort of course, OG do this before.
Yep.
And this game again, why do you feel it works so well for them here in this first match against Secret?
I think it's just something they're super comfortable with. Seb's been playing it so many times, and they've always been a team about amping up their carries, right? What better than having like an IO that gets these high levels, fast-paced, like level 4 overcharge online, tether as well. You get items faster, your mech, your holy lock, hot lock it. You set the tempo even faster as a 3-position IO than you were like a 5. Sure, mech is really cheap, so we see it picked up very early anyway on those like 5 IOs, but now it's like Seb is going to have it, and he's going to have these crazy levels that increases the healing as well, because that's what Tether does when you get levels. So,
and you do sort of agree with Cinderin sentiment, really. He says very much, you're looking at this game, this draft, and we know, of course, how OG likes to play.
Yep.
OG this game, they are going to want to, and they kind of need to play fast, because down the line, what this more Shaker is, you just don't want to sort of get yourself into territory where you're having to deal with the fact that one of your heroes might get one shot.
Absolutely, and they're just going to get this crazy scaling. The team fight also, if you just look from Secret, it's a bit stronger as the game does progress. Once you start getting these levels on that Shaker, the AA, even the support Monkey King, it just starts to make everything a bit of a disaster for OG. But if they get a good tempo set, they have a good gold lead, then they're going to be able to still chain these kills. But we'll see if they can do that, but they do have the lineup to be able to, and tag team, overcharge, Ursa, Alacrity, Roche is going to die quite a lot of times in this game.
Absolutely, and we're definitely going to see OG get a lot of usage, as you say, out of those sort of early brawling abilities that are really going to amp them up and make it rather hard for Secret to go toe-to-toe with them in the sort of the earlier half of the game. Do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a brief pause. I believe the teams are just getting themselves ready and all sorted so we can get tucked in for a whole complete game of Dota 2, which... as I say, we're going to have action from the minute one, really.
Yes,
this,
exactly. I'm wondering if, let's see, we'll probably see level 1 smoke from
Absolutely.
OG. They've got tag team, they've got IO, they've got the stronger level 1, even though sometimes it's a bit awkward because you have something like an IO and you're running to like Shaker. There's a Monkey King and an AI on the other side, there's a Morphling on the other side, so OG is going to look to hit hard right from the start of this game. And let's see if they do some, like, maybe... I wouldn't say like tri-lane or anything like that, but maybe just for the start, get a quick early kill on the Morphling, then swap the lane up. Could definitely see a possibility from the IO, the Tusk, and the Mars, since Tusk just works so good when you have so many more heroes for tag team.
Yeah. And so looking at the mid lane, Nisha versus Thompson here on the Ember versus Invoker. How do you expect that one to go, right? Thompson's not going to be too upset with the matchup, right? He's going to...
No. He should be okay.
Works Invoker, you can play around with the Ember quite a bit.
Yeah, you've got a little bit of, you got like good base damage. Sure, your Flame Guard's going to get dispelled in some situations, but you should be able to get these last hits. You're going to be able to pull creeps back, and water runes are a thing. So all these heroes that can still go for the bottle, like Ember Spirit when you're playing versus Invoker, you're going to have that good sustain that just comes from it naturally. Well, he doesn't. So I know Brian was heavily talking about Saksa in this upcoming game, and I think we'll probably see him a lot of times looking to make those moves around those water runes early on, even the 6-minute rune.
I mean, and the same to be said for Yaps on the Monkey King, or is he going to be more needed in the lane, really? Is he going to have as much freedom as Saxa is to sort of roam around and look towards that mid to help sort of push the matchup in their favour?
I think it's more going to be Saksa checking, but yeah, he'll check. He'll check as well on Yapsor. I think he'd like to stay with the Shaker, just as his melee versus Ursa. You don't want to leave him completely alone, right? So. No. Even though Shaker has done really well versus most of these melee matchups, Ursa can take advantage of it. Just one little pin from the Mars, even though it's a 5 position, and you should have the chase if there's no Monkey King there. So here we go.
Well, indeed, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The G has been called in chat. We are getting this match underway. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 1 of Secret versus OG here in the upper bracket. And indeed, of course, smokes up straight away from both teams.
Oh, yeah.
As a lot of potential for quite an early first blood this game.
Let's see if anybody scouts it, if anybody breaks it. Of course, we have Yapsor as this courier dressed up, so maybe he'll be able to scout something for his team to allow them to dodge that quick aggression that's going to come. And let's see.
OG coming for the long way around here. They could get the good approach onto the high ground.
Immediately skills Cold Snap. That's the other thing too. Just always want to point out, some Invokers we have seen at this tournament are skilling the Wex level 1 to get the EMP for the lane. That tells me even more they want to find the battle. And we're ready. I mean, the taunts, of course, come out from Seb, claiming that high ground. Yeah. And Secret doesn't want to fight. They know that it's too strong.
Absolutely not. No, you don't want to run into OG level 1.
No.
Especially when they've got the heroes they do this game.
See, Yapsor also continuing. He's the courier form. He brings his courier out so that he's going to be able to turn back into courier form as well later on, so he can keep using that. That's why you see it pulled out of the base so early. Something we're seeing a lot more players do.
And overall as well, this game, what's sort of your feeling from the drafts? Like, do you prefer the approach of one of the teams this game?
I've been a bigger fan of speed lately.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be speed and few mistakes, though, because I've seen very similar drafts like this also from, we got to cast that LGD Elephant game where they had that enormous gold lead the entire game, and then one little slip up, the Morphling, and the combo just ends up taking... That one was a Morph and a Willow, which also is incredibly powerful, but Morph and Shaker has similarities. So for me, it's pretty even. It all depends on how the pace of the game starts going. Because if OG gets ahead, they can dictate pace and play around their low cooldowns. If Secret gets ahead early, then I think it might be a little tough for OG to bring it back. Level 1 Puppy gets gone on from tag team, instant TP, back to the lane.
That sort of eyes, as I say, both side lanes. I mean, which side lane is the most volatile, do you think? Who's got to be the most careful on this first couple of levels?
I feel like top has crazy potential of kills just because it's the double melee.
Yeah.
Yapsor just makes 1 or 2 wrong steps. Same thing for No Tail. There's Jingu skilled right away on the Monkey King too, so that's probably the most volatile for me. bottom, the Io and Tusk have great kill potential on the AA. However, on the Morphling, I think Matu should be able to hold his own, because once he gets his like level 2, level 3, he's going to have a disengage, and he's also just going to have that incredible attribute shift.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, this top lane, the fact that this Monkey King Shaker against the 2 melees, I guess same could be said for the Mars and the Ursa. A lot of potential to battle back, but for sure, you're going to see both teams taking early swipes at each other.
Stick is going to be really valuable up there for Zai. He started with it. He's playing versus the Rebuke. Even we expect that Earth Shock to come out from the Ursa early on too. So they're going to have a lot of mana to work with. And I'd say Secret, I give them a slight edge in the laning phase with their heroes the way it's set up at the moment.
So far top.
Ooh,
might have to be careful
one.
there, good Fisher. It's going to put a stop to any aggressive chase there from the 2 of OG. Mid lane Nisha having to play a little careful. He's got some regen out on the way, but rather low at the moment in that matchup so far. 8 for 2, 7 for 1. Pretty even here in the mid.
Thompson's gone just straight for damage. Doesn't finish up the null, just finished up a Robe of the Magi. I feel like he might go something like a drum. We've been seeing it from him quite a lot this tournament, and when he has the IO and it's all about pace, I think that's something he might be thinking about.
Oh, and there we have it, actually, bottom lane. Seb is the one to get first blood. Is he actually going to get Saxa out as well? He is. The heals are enough. Saxa doesn't even go down, as we see action on both side lanes pretty much kicking off at the same time. But, of course, OG, they were the ones to get the kill first.
Bit of a slip up there. I think Matu missed the waveform onto Saxa to get that trade kill. And as we said, Puppey, he's the one who's going to have to eat the brunt of the force most of the time from this tag team. He is securing the farm for Matu, but he's going to die most likely a lot of the times he does go down there.
Matu definitely having to be careful, but so far the first wave, even though losing the support by his side, free farm for the Morph down here, 14 for 5.
And Sumail struggling, since he's got that double melee versus the Monkey King who's holding skill point too. Yapsor may be deciding if he has another opportunity to...
Just get pushed back by the spear there, won't latch though. The Fisher out. Sumail and DOTA, they want to try and get Yapsor. Sumail looking to close in, but the Barrel strikes up. Yapsor turns into the tree. They take down DOTA. Now he's going to look over towards Sumail. They've got him stunned. Oh, Sumail does get the kill. Can Zai get him in return? He can't. Sumail's got the boots, the movement speed. He'll make it away. So trade up there on the top lane, but of course Sumail may survive, but he's left in pretty bad shape there after that bruise up, and still struggling to come to the lane for CS, struggling the most out of all the cores here in the early game, Sumail.
And Zai's always got mana to work with. That's what we're mentioning. These stick charges, he's always got a fissure, he's always got enchant totems. It's a tough one for Sumail.
And Yapsor have died, but of course able to head over towards the mid. Get Nisha topped up and well.
That's where those deaths are kind of valuable. When you have bottle mids, you can always fill them up. Unlike for the Invoker, they can't fill up Thompson's. He doesn't have one, obviously.
I mean, what?
Okay.
We have to control the water in here. What can they do about this top lane, OG? Can they make any sort of alterations to get this better for Sumail, or do they just have to tank this really rough start for the Ursa?
I think they have to tank it as bottom. Puppey, getting gone on.
See if they can take it this time down. The damage from the tag team, it's enough here, Seb. Last hit comes in from the Iowa. Seb certainly off to a hot start indeed. I mean, maybe all Saxa. No, Matu's got to be cautious.
He's very low.
Seb just sort of beating back into him, stopping Matu from being able to get in and get the trade kill. See Nisha attempt to get aggressive mid with the chains.
Thompson, he's got some creeps on him too. He's at low on, he doesn't have enough mana.
Fairy Fire, they'll keep him topped up. Thompson's still alive for now. Nisha, can he still get in this? 11 of a slight chains in about 8 seconds. Thompson's still hanging around. In fact, he's kind of stuck, but he has enough to get into the Ghost Walk. Thompson will stay alive.
Really pushing the limit there, though.
Yeah, he is.
He reveals himself.
Oh, Nisha's going to want to dive back in. He's got the slight chains. Thompson, now with the flame guard up, Nisha's going to have the damage. Thompson there making a bit of a mistake, getting greedy, trying to reveal himself to keep hitting the creeps, but he had no regen and no chance against Nisha with the second round of spells on the abilities of the Ember.
And Nisha's able, after that kill, walks into the enemy high ground on the triangle and also gets himself a bounty. So that's very fortunate for him. And yeah, big mistake there from Thompson.
I mean, it's, so far, just a 1k lead, but you saw it there in the CS. All 3 of Secret's cores across the board, getting solid farm in the lanes, whereas OG, they're having a bit of a slower time in the mid and that top lane.
And Secret's the one who, as we were mentioning, later game scaling is really good. You see this Morphling having a way better